shit's fucking difficult. Make a stack, Pepe laugh, gotta let these bitches match. She slap me and I do not give up bands. I feel like Twitch staff, clip that. Ay, this bitch finna give me whiplash. Took my fucking breath away, I'm finna take that shit back. Bitch, you capping me, you big mad. I'm just fucking trapping, getting cat girls in some big bands. Pull up constant havoc, jacks but dicey, how I whip that. Make more than your dad, but I know you wouldn't get that. Messed up, got me looking like no face. Make it rain, leave it wet like a snowflake. I'm sorry, give me space, she like no way. That's a red flag, bitch, Olay. Messed up, got me looking like no face. Make it rain, leave it wet like a snowflake. I'm sorry, give me space, she like no way. That's a red flag, bitch, Olay. Fine last, nice ass, cat ears and she fuck around, do shadow puppets, back of the Subaru. I got shit black nails and a better bitch than you do. Only want me cause I'm sad, bitch, I ain't afraid to lose you. She always got her collar on, she always fucking calling me. What she call me son before, don't call me that, I'm not a weep. She like the way I look at her, she like that I am hard to please. I cannot fucking help it, bro, these cat girls always fall for me. They all try to fix me, bucket switch up like a blade on me. Got a handcuff, put chains on me, bitch, I don't give a fuck, do not try to change me.
So yeah, you've been making music for 4
I got a lot of empty cans on my floor. I got a lot of dirty clothes in my drawer. But that's how it goes. Yeah, that's how it goes. I got a lot of problems I don't got a name for. I got a couple people kicking in my front door. But that's how it goes. My life is good, I can't complain. I love my bed, I love the rain. It doesn't rain enough, no. You come and go, just like a train. I'm locked in place, you got me chained. Just like a dog, you got me trained. But I can't complain. Can't complain at all. Can't complain at all. Can't complain at all. So why don't you come over? Come over. Why don't you come over? Come over. Why don't you come over? Hey. I wish I had a couple million sitting offshore. I wish I didn't spend $1 billion at the liquor store. But that's how it goes. Yeah. I wish I pushed myself all the way. I wish I wasn't tired every day. But that's how it goes. Yeah. That's how it goes. My life is good, I can't complain. I love my friends, I love the rain. It doesn't rain enough, no. I wish it did. You come and go, just like a train. I'm locked in place, you got me chained. Just like a dog, you got me trained. But I can't complain. Can't complain at all. Can't complain at all. So why don't you come over? Come over. Why don't you come over? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can come over whenever you want to, whenever you want to, whenever you want. Whenever you want. You can come over whenever you want to, whenever you want to, whenever you want. Whenever you want. You can come over whenever you want to, whenever you want to, whenever you want. Whenever you want.
I am undeafened, and now I am transitioning to the right scene. Hello. Here.
Hello.
This is No Way Home Talk. No way home spoilers. If you're here and you haven't seen this film, go. Leave now. This is your one and only warning. And you will not get another one. We're about to spoil the entire film. Once again.
Let it be
That is all.
known.
Yes. Thank you.
We're about to spend the next 4.5 hours
This film.
going legitimately
Get the
line by line, scene by scene.
was any and every adjective they've ever used to describe Spider-Man. One of these throughout history.
Yeah.
It was the best Spider-Man movie that's ever been made. But for me, the movie was amazing. It was spectacular. It opens so many doors for the cinematic universe to go and do whatever they want ever use to describe Spider-Man in the comics throughout history. But yeah, I agree with Slip. I love the best Spider-Man movie that's ever been made. I really want to watch it again. Contemplated skipping this and it opens so many doors for the cinematic universe to go and do whatever they want with the character, which I think is awesome. It was so good. I don't think there's any. But yeah, I agree with Slip. I loved the film. How well they did. Really want to watch it again. The whole contemplated multiverse. Skipping this and just hiding out in the back of the cinema until they're showing what it is. Because it's not like what's going on, but straight into the multiverse. We won't get that. No, it was so good. I don't think there's any denying how we really get into multiverse madness. How well they did. It was a nice little taster on how the MCU and how Marvel are going to do it. Is what it is. Because it's not like proper, absolutely straight into the multiverse. We won't get that until I think until we really get into far superior to any other live action attempt. It was a nice little taster on how the MCU and how Marvel are going to do it.
I can't fault you.
So far, I would rate it right up there with any other far superior to any other live action attempt at doing the multiverse that's come before.
I knew you was gonna go there. I knew you. I knew it. I felt it.
I can't fault you.
I knew it was gonna happen.
Into the Spider-Verse was amazing as well.
Listen.
I'm looking at you, Flash TV.
You're not wrong. I knew you was gonna go there. I knew you. I knew it. I felt it. I felt it when you did it.
I also thought about hiding in the theater. I will admit, it would have been worth it. I wouldn't have blamed you.
Listen. Just sit back in the back like you're not wrong. I mean, you know what? This is what you do, right? You're not wrong. What you do. And Greek, don't.
I also
don't
thought about
take
hiding
this
in the theater. I will admit,
but it's going to be a strike directly at you. Just sit back in the back. Dress up like a heartless with a huge turn all the way up. That's what you do, right? That's what you do. And then just go on the back. Greek, don't you dare take this personal. But it's going to be a strike directly at you. Just swap ski mask. Dress up like a heartless with a hue turned all the way up. Keep doing it. And he has enough. I know he has enough. Then when they,
it's a great idea.
That's what you do. He runs in real quick to the bathroom and then go again with one. Then you snatch it off. Keep doing it. He has enough. I know he has enough. Looking for a person with a ski mask. So now you just walk through there. That's what you do. He runs in real quick to the bathroom to what is it, Auditorium 17. You snatch it off. Walk in, and people are looking for a person with a ski mask. So now, bam, you just walk through there. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go to into a theater, so they can't really say what is Auditorium 17, and then walk in.
But you know what?
Next,
another ski mask. Bam.
They never really see you going into a theater, so they can't really say, exactly, you did something.
Good point. Good point.
They be trying. Boy. You got your mask, man. It was right here, okay? It's right here. Black Panther.
It couldn't be a ski mask.
Exactly. Somebody. That's what I said. They be trying. Personally, I needed to go mask, man. It was right here, okay? It's right here. Black Panther. That was a little bit more enthusiastic because that's why I showed up in personally. Spider-Man. I was legitimately a different theater that was out of work Spider-Man for the enthusiastic because I showed up in Spider-Man gear. I was legitimately and they just hey. Everybody was all quiet out of work Spider-Man for the universe here. Stuff came on it and nobody showed up and okay. And they just hey. I'm gonna need y'all to do this. It was all quiet. And
I agree.
Stuff came on.
That's how you should be at a movie like this early on, at least.
Okay.
Large degree.
I'm gonna need y'all to do this.
Yeah, how was your theater? I agree. That's how you should be at a movie like this early on, at least.
We were loud, lots of laughing. Obviously, there's plenty of comedy in the film, lots of funny bits. My theater was good. There was lots of crying. We were loud, lots of laughing. Even in certain parts in the middle of the film, lots of funny bits. There was a good amount of applause. Lots of crying spots. And at the end, and even in certain parts in the middle, it was good. It was a good atmosphere. It was a good atmosphere. It wasn't wasn't loud to the point where it was disruptive, but it was loud enough to show that there was a lot of. But it was good. It was good atmosphere and good atmosphere. It wasn't loud to the point where it was disruptive, but it was loud enough.
I went with my girlfriend,
to show that there was a
I
lot
guess
of
she wasn't. I don't think I've taken her to like an opening night Marvel movie yet, so I don't think she knew what to expect. I went with my girlfriend. She was like. And I guess she wasn't. I don't think I've taken her to like an opening night Marvel like movie the jumping off point. So I don't think the moment you see she was like Matt Murdock in that chair, the hype of that crowd. The crowd just screams like Chelsea's jumping off. What the hell is this? I came to see a movie not to experience something. She got an experience, and that's the point for me. Chelsea's like, what the hell is this? I came to see a movie not to experience something. She got an experience. And that's the point for me. I like that experience.
More to do with it, but unique. It was awesome to see Matt there. So early, and then we catch so early. I wish it had a bit more to do with it, but it was awesome to see Matt there. And then when he catches others, so good at it. Good lawyer. Peter's like, how did you do that?
Your other lawyer can't do this? This is a lawyer thing. All lawyers do this.
It's actually like, you can't pass the bar unless you do
your
this.
other lawyer can't do this? This is a lawyer thing. All lawyers do this.
It's actually like, you can't pass the bar unless you do this. What do you mean?
I'll protect my clients. That's part of the job.
Within a week of each other,
within days of each other even, we've had Matt Murdock within a week of each other on screen. Within days of each other even, and Vincent had Matt Murdock completely confirmed. Sorry, I didn't tell you there was a Hawkeye spoiler coming up. Oops. Vincent D'Onofrio completely confirmed. I said containing spoilers on my spoiler coming up. Oops. Be here if you didn't want to know. But yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio. So spoilers on my stream later. Almost it's like the two best things about that show. Yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio. So that whole confirmed is in the MCU. The two best things about that show from the Netflix series confirmed is in the MCU within days.
I said when I seen it, right, even the blurry picture, I'm like. Whoever denied that Daredevil was blurry picture, I'm like, whoever denied eventually Daredevil, you have no legs to stand on, even if you didn't see any leaks. The MCU eventually, you had no legs to stand on. You have no legs to stand on, even if you didn't see any leaks. Like you had no legs to stand on at that point. You just see Vincent sitting there, and it's like a huge spoiler, but it was like,
the stream. 26 viewers, welcome viewers.
It was a huge spoiler, but it was like,
Thank you so much. 26 viewers, welcome viewers.
Nice.
As you guys are kind of so much necessarily have a say and joining the stream. You guys are kind of fair warning. There is going and be joining spoilers just for fair warning. There is going to be spoilers for discussion. We are going to be discussing the film on this in its entirety. We're going to be discussing the film different parts of it. So if you don't want spoilers, please different parts of it. So if you don't want spoilers, please not stick around. If you do not, if you love having you here, don't want. Do not stick around if you do not. You have not seen that. Don't want spoilers. Thank you so much for stopping in. And also for the follows. Thank you so much for stopping in. And also for the follows as well. Off photos from you in the last week or so. Off photos from you. Anyway, I'm sorry guys.
You're good.
Anyway, sorry guys.
Preach, man.
You're good. Very important
Preach,
disclaimer.
man.
Greek, do you have any disclaimer? Greek, do you have any anything to add specifically any crowd hype and specifically any disclaimer crowd hype? Greek, do you have any anything to add on the Charlie Cox
my
moment?
Theater wasn't
specifically any
my
crowd
theater
hype
that I've been seeing,
enjoyed, or
just like some of the other ones that I've been seeing, where they're at the top of their lungs, like on the screen, at the top of their lungs, dialogue. My theater wasn't dialogue. It was more just like some of the other ones that I've been seeing, where there's moments, all of like screaming at the top of their lungs. My point is, you can't hear any of the dialogue. It was more so after all of the right moments, after all of the right moments. There was one thing that specifically pissed me off. They didn't clap for Andrew. They didn't clap for Andrew, but they clapped one thing like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? There's one thing that was confused. They didn't clap for Andrew, but they clapped for Toby. I'm sitting there like, what the fuck?
Toby's old ass wanderer.
I get confused.
Everybody was just like, I was probably the most person in general there. Toby's old ass wanderer in the portal. That was kind of everybody was.
You were that guy. You were that guy.
But Andrew got a much bigger pop. My thought was kind of
mine.
You were that guy.
Got the loudest reaction. I looked around. I'm like, it was a lot of loudest reaction. I'm just chalk it up with. I looked around. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, hey, it was a lot of haters. Like, what do you do to y'all? Like, what do you do to y'all? I looked around. I saw nobody playing. The Matt Murdock thing, however, his two movies. I'm not gonna say I hate that he didn't have the Matt Murdock thing. I don't hate that he didn't. I'm not gonna say he didn't have that much. I was just happy that he showed up. But I do agree with others. But I do agree with others. I didn't have that much. We could have actually seen. We could have actually seen it. Because if I'm Spider-Man and I have Spider-Man and I have Spider-Man, you catch the damn brick before I do. We could have actually seen. Keep in mind, you blind. At that point, the conversation was with answers. I got people gunning for me. People know where I live. People know where I live. I'm not in my window. I got people gunning for me. I got people in my home. People know where I live. And I'm in my window. We gotta talk about it.
But you do know that when
in my home and I'm in my PJs.
He got his identity revealed. I mean, but you do know that he was ready on point. He was ready. My man was like, every chance he got web shooters. I might not have a suit, but I might not have a suit. I got my hands, and I got my hands, and I got this web shooter. Every chance he got web shooters. You can be so I might not have a suit, but how do you want? I got my hands, and I got this web shooter. Because you can break too. I need to go if you friend of foe. I need to go if you friend of foe. You want to, but just know because you catch a break, you catch his hands too. I need to know if you friend of foe. What's up?
Drop down in front of people. Like, the first act of the movie, there was definitely a couple of times Spider-Man PS4 game where he ran random in front of random guys that were scared down because they just came from nowhere. Like in the Spider-Man PS4 game where you just land randomly.
Yeah, there's anything with Matt Murdock, because with Matt Murdock, because I know obviously movies cutscenes. Obviously movies cutscenes. Anything I'm just curious with Matt Murdock. I would love to see that. I would love to see. I know obviously movies cutscenes.
We are doing spoilers.
So scenes got cut. Yeah,
I hope there's a longer scene of that final fight.
I think there is when it comes to him. It is a longer scene because there's a screenshot that I've seen that confirmed him there. It was not in the movie. It is a longer scene because it was like a confirmed him. It was there. It was not in the not actually Daredevil. No, not actually Daredevil. The scene where he's talking to people, right? He's talking to Happy and all them. No, not actually Daredevil. In the scene where shows a picture that shows almost like a longer version where the camera was at different angles. It was at different angles, and we never seen it. Almost like a longer version because where the camera was at. That's what I'm hoping. That's kind of what I'm hoping. That's kind of what I was at, and we never seen it.
Nice. Yeah, that'd be
nice.
So
probably a deleted scene.
I would rock that.
I am 100% ordering whatever comes out. As soon as it gets there, I don't care how much it is. Yes, I am 100% ordering whatever comes out. As soon as it gets there, I'm speaking out how much it is. Yes, I do. I'm not balling like that, but still, Amazon, Best Buy, no, Amazon, Best Buy, like it did for the PlayStation and Xbox.
Is that tall of an order?
Amazon, Best Buy, no. There's a website out now that's like real or not. I'm not sure if it's real or not. My home was telling me that sold out. It was legitimately sold out. There's a website that's like site is like they got on the biggest scam of ever because just like people just like $34 with no problem. With no problem. Send my stuff later. Biggest scam of ever because like people just like ready for it. 30-40 bucks with no problem. Just here.
So my next topic. Just very vague on favorite moments. Yeah, I figured we'd go around. I figured we'd go around literally every scene. My next topic, and then by the time we're done that, moments. I figured we'd go around, but I'll probably name literally every scene, at least one of them, because at least one of them, and then by the time we're done, actually, the one that really did stick with me, that is scene that obviously Andrew Garfield's one of them. Andrew Garfield explodes, like crowd jumps through the portal. He jumps through the portal again. The crowd explodes again because you get a good look at his face. But then he like obviously Andrew Garfield jumps on the roof and he's just like thrown around and he's like trying to convince them. That shit is so funny. That shit is so funny. Like what a great on the roof. What a great just go around and get bread thrown at him and he's like trying to convince them that he's funny. That shit is so funny. That is so great. What a great grandma or whatever. Grandma or whatever. How about I clean up that weapon? And then the little old lady, Ned's grandma or whatever. So it's like, how about I clean up that weapon? I mean, choose a favorite scene. Because again, the film is tremendous throughout. It's really hard to choose a favorite scene. I probably. Because again, the film is just really tremendous. I think my favorite bit has got to be when they're all in the lab. Working on all the different stuff. And they address the whole wires webbing comes out of this goddamn bar. And they're all in the lab working on all the different stuff. And they address the whole wires webbing comes out of this and the other. He's like, what do you mean? You don't want to run out of weapon. He's like, don't want to run out of weapon. He's like, absolutely died. Freak out. You just look on Andrew Garfield's face. We don't want to run out of weapon. Oh my god, it was so good. Oh my god, it was so good. That scene. Just the look on pulled over in the cinema. It was so funny. I'm so glad it was so good. It's the one that scene I've had about samurai over in the cinema. It was the moment you saw him and the moment you saw him. I'm so glad that they actually addressed it in the film. That's his universe. That's how it works. So I'm so glad that they actually addressed it in the film. That's fine. Practicing all appreciate universe. That's how it works. Says I like the lecturers and the full layering. Thank you for the follow. Private Skull. Appreciate you. Very good. Private Skull says I like the lecturers. I was whooping his ass and then shit.
Just to finish off, so that was hilarious. Like, and that conversation between all three of them about it was almost like snatched directly from that entire conversation between all three of them. Because I swear to you, one person, I can't think of his name. I remember seeing a lot of. He just had like some whole dynamic because I swear to you, all the time. One person, I can't think of his name. I just know. And they brought that one up. But it was just like, and he just had like this whole dynamic talking all the time. What are you doing? What are you doing? At that point in time, at that point in time was like the scariest one out of it. Every once in a while, he's just like in his area and messing with and at that point in time is like the scariest one out of it. Assassins, you stole my favorite moment. My second favorite moment. As a big fan of the it is hilarious. My second favorite moment, focus moment, as a big fan of how the visuals were for Doctor Strange. Their whole fight, in like the mirror version, I was in that visual because Doctor Strange was one of my favorite movies because their whole fight, the visuals, just see that and just realizing like wait a minute, the mirror that shows just how good see that mirror dimension is. Wait a minute, mechanic, but also just how Peter Parker because he just like Zori next to get fighting a mechanic, but also just the genius of Peter Parker because he just turned it directly on fire next to that's peak right there. That's peak right there. In the middle where he is like completely overwhelmed. Really focus on one thing. That's peak right there. It's like in the middle where he is like completely overwhelmed, and then just focus on one thing like, huh,
really cool.
Very cool.
It was really his little final line as well was good.
done. We're done. I'm out.
You know what's stronger than magic? Oh, man. His little final line as well was
Very true.
good.
Very true.
Yeah, magic.
Really quickly before I will say that the Raimi web shooters bit. The Raimi web shooters bit. Two quick points. Does that come out of anywhere else? And two. When I saw those movies, I was pretty young. So I went. This is probably just the way that it is. Probably just the way that it is. Garfield's movie came out. I was like, this is weird. I was like, this is weird. I saw like I was a young kid, so I went like, I'm dating myself here. Just the way that it is. And when Andrew Garfield's movie came out, I was like, this is weird. Obviously wrong, but like obviously wrong kid that didn't understand any better. But like, I'm dating myself here. But it's just an interesting tidbit because I was total inverse. Obviously wrong.
The first one was in 02. The second one was in 04 or 05. Came out, I think 3 came out, I think. The first one was in 09 or 08. I think the second one was in 04 or 05. And 3 came out, I think, in 09 or 08.
First comic that I picked up was Spider-Man. First comic, the first love. Until the Andrew Garfield ones, the web that had, they were also the fact that the conversation kept steering towards Toby's web, even later, even when subsequent scenes, it's sitting on top of the statue even later, asking questions about like self-confidence, sitting on top of the statue.
Wait a minute.
Is it my turn?
Oh yeah. I'm just like, does it come anywhere else? Perfect. It's perfect. Like,
that was funny because I feel like we all knew what he meant when he asked that.
It's perfect. It's like,
that was funny because I feel like we all
like nobody could be like, what are you talking about? Like, nah, you know.
Okay, so I would say my favorite moment. There's really two. My first favorite moment would be split between the first and second fight with Goblin, and that's for very specific reasons. And then the second one specifically would be Goblin's speech inside of Happy's apartment, where he convinced Electro and Sandman to completely turn because it was probably obvious if you looked at it, but Electro was completely going. I mean, he had his doubts and he was scared, but he was also going along with the plan. If Goblin never would have made that speech, Electro would not have been there for the final fight because he would have been depowered. Now, the fight specifically, the final fight, just because in terms of how brutal it is, you got to think about it. Going way back to like the older movies, like Toby series and Andrew series. Well, Toby specifically, all of his villains were like pretty like hands-on, like straight up beat down. Andrew was more of a tricky situational mathematical kind of person, figuring out what to do in order to get the job done. Tom has been the same way up until this last movie. With Vulture, he couldn't really fight him head on. With Mysterio, he couldn't really fight him head on, and we know why. But when it came down to Goblin, we haven't seen any hand-to-hand fights like that since Toby's series. We have not seen. Goblin gave him a hell of a fucking, excuse my language, he gave him a hell of a beating. the first time. I don't know when. I feel like in his past life he was a WWE superstar. He choke slammed Tom through 3 goddamn marble granite floors. I'm like, what the hell? And then the second fight specifically, for anyone who's read the comics, the last time Peter went that hard against Goblin was the same night he killed Gwen Stacy on the Manhattan Bridge. For anyone who's read the comics, the last time it was switched. It was switched because this time he killed Aunt May. And when the fight started, all Peter said was that I just want to kill him. If Toby didn't step in, Norman was about to get clipped.
Norman was going to end up on a t-shirt, man.
He is the only reason he was going on a t-shirt, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wish Toby didn't stop him, but it's just I just enjoyed it because of the callbacks in that fight to the comic, really, but also just how brutal that fight was. Because again, we haven't seen anything that brutal since Toby's series all those years ago, which just further proves the point. It shows you just how much Spider-Man is consistently holding back. Whenever he fully lets go and he stops pulling punches, he can do damage. He can do a lot more damage than people realize. That's what they don't understand, and that's what I love about it.
I like the fact as well, and to call back to 2 things that Greek just brought up, actually. First of all, talking about WWE moves, Spider-Man got his own in that last fight when he did that sunset powerbomb on him. That shit was, I was like, damn, he really just hit him with a power. We need that takedown in Avengers now. I want that takedown now.
And there's another one.
Awesome. But then, speaking about kind of the darkness of Gwen Stacy dying and stuff like that, and I loved how Andrew kind of talked on the fact that he's obviously after Gwen died, he went dark, and he even talks about the fact he stopped pulling his punches. Afterwards. So it would be so awesome again to revisit that universe in a film or a show or whatever, and just see kind of that progression, if you like, or that level of viciousness from Spider-Man. So,
I'm jumping in directly after that, so just go ahead.
No, you good.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump in after this.
So I seen and this might be jumping the gun because it's more sort of not a spoiler, but like theorization or whatnot.
You're good. Go for it.
There was one person, I think I seen earlier today on TikTok while I was scrolling because I finally can scroll free. I think his name is Nick or something like that. He was talking about how I think you seen it. You seen it?
You're talking about Nikhil?
Is it with the Harry from Andrews? What you call it?
You're talking about Nikhil? Yes, I think that's Nikhil Clayton.
Okay, my man's so because that in Andrew Garfield's Green Goblin knows who Peter is. Now, why didn't he show up? Because apparently the theory is, and I'm down for this theory, is that after Gwen Stacy, Andrew Garfield beat the entire shit out of Harry and killed him, and that's the darkness he was talking about.
Yeah, and that makes that moment at the end there where Tom Holland is like brutally beating the fuck out of Norman Osborn, just like so much more powerful because Andrew Garfield's looking on. He's like, I gotta stop that. We gotta do something. We can't let that happen.
I know where that goes. Stop it.
It made that moment with Andrew saving MJ all that much more intense as well because
that was his redemption. He made up.
Redemption, exactly. It's his redemption. Him making up because earlier on in the film, he said, "I couldn't save her, and I'll never get over that." And you had that moment of thinking, "He's gonna do this shit again. He's gonna do shit. I better not see no webs coming out here and going down after her." But yeah, it was, and then that moment at the end where he realized, and he had that emotional moment as well at the end of that. Yeah.
That's so powerful, man.
And
His
somebody
face,
made a
he
meme.
killed me.
And somebody made a meme about that actually. That was more so ever since Gwen's death, he's been practicing that specific kind of catch over and over and over, so that the next time, the situation arose, he wouldn't mess it up. Because notice how when he grabbed Gwen, instead of grabbing her like he did MJ, he attached a web to her, and then a web to another end of the wall, and the recoil was what snapped her back. He didn't do it this time. He himself caught MJ.
My man was like, I've been waiting for this for the last 17 years, man.
No, you know who's really been waiting 17 years? Green Goblin. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this joke in there now. Green Goblin killed Aunt May because if anybody seen Spider-Man 1 way back in 2002 during the Thanksgiving dinner, Aunt May slapped the shit out of his hand when he was trying to touch the food before they said grace. He held a grudge for this goddamn long and came back and killed her in No Way Home.
My man said he was on site with every single Aunt May in the multiverse. He's ready to throw hands with every Aunt May in the universe because of one piece of turkey.
You know, that wasn't even turkey. It was candy yams with marshmallows on top.
Oh, yeah, yep.
He went for a marshmallow.
Yeah,
And then he told the grudge. Across all universes.
And keep in mind, after she did that in Toby's movie, she was the next person to get targeted.
True.
Wait.
That man is the king of. I'm sorry, but Green Goblin, I know he's supposed to be moving on Twitter.
Stole almost every scene he was in. Willem Dafoe was hands down just brilliant throughout. You know what? And it made. I mean, I went into the film. My biggest hype behind the people that were returning was Alfred Molina, because I loved Spider-Man 2 and I loved his portrayal of Doc Ock. And man, Willem Dafoe turned that shit on its head. I left the film going, man, Green Goblin was awesome. It was absolutely amazing. When Spider-Man is whooping his ass and he's just sitting there smiling and laughing at it. Yeah. Oh my god, it was so good, so good.
He didn't even beat on Toby like that.
Somebody put on Twitter, William was really Dafoe.
God damn you.
He had to be. He didn't even beat on Toby like that. He gave Tom the works.
Marcus, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Okay.
So yeah, my next topic was even, what's your favorite villain from the movie? I think it's fair to say Willem Dafoe, Green Goblin.
You know what? In terms of overall, just viciousness and badassness, it's Goblin. In terms of everything else, it's Electro. Because Jamie had me rolling damn near every time he spoke. He had me rolling the whole movie.
He was great as well, for sure.
I couldn't even disagree with that. That definitely. My entire thing was Jamie Foxx. Like, my entire mood the entire time was just like, man. He was just like, I couldn't even disagree with that. Interesting. My entire thing was Jamie Foxx.
Like, y'all just gonna ignore the fact that I'm butt ass naked?
Exactly. I love the banners like, yes.
From that moment, we knew. Like, everybody knew. From the moment he said that first joke, yep, they let Jamie be Jamie in this movie. They let him be in this movie.
It was great. For me, it's actually a toss-up between those two as well. I think Willem Dafoe is just phenomenal every single time that he is Green Goblin. Like, he definitely outperformed himself this time. Alfred Molina, I kind of agree with you, VA. He was like a big hype for me going in, and then he kind of like just left for half the movie, but that was cool because he still got that redemption moment, which I called it. I called that shit. Just gonna say it. I fucking called it. But he totally deserved that moment. It's just weird that he had to leave for half the movie to get it. Oh well.
Just saying.
It's hard. It's hard for me to even consider Doc Ock in this movie as a villain because he probably had the biggest redemption on screen in the film of any of the villains. Sandman kind of flipped it because he started off almost being a good guy, helping to catch Electro, and then kind of became a bad guy and was a bad guy till the end until they gave him the cure.
I don't understand his character arc. Just gonna put that out there. I don't understand what Sandman was doing, but whatever.
Hashtag cure that ass, as Ned would say.
He was never really a villain, so to say. Because exactly. I mean, like even when you think about it, going back to Spider-Man 3, I mean, well, see, the reason he was in prison was because he was put there for the murder of Ben, which wasn't even his fault because the person that Toby killed in the first movie was the one who forced him to pull the trigger. So he wasn't.
He was the wheelman. He was driving.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he wasn't supposed to be there at all. And then comes Spider-Man 3. His old this is why Sandman is one of my favorite villains, both in the movies and in the comics. In the movies, he was only just trying to provide for his daughter because if anybody remember Penny, she had cancer. That was legit the only reason why he was pulling those jobs. And this was also I think this was in a deleted scene, by the way. The reason he even started working with Venom is because Venom went after Penny when Sandman refused the first time. They cut that scene out. I'm not sure why, but that's the only reason. But that's really the only reason why he chose to help him because he had no other choice. Sandman wasn't really a villain. He was more so just a victim of unfortunate circumstances. Coming into No Way Home, he wasn't even really a villain. The reason why he was acting the way he did was because Toby wasn't there, and Toby was the only person that he knew, so he didn't trust anybody else. So there was a reason, there was a clear reason for why he was doing what he was doing.
That's fair.
Yeah. So like I said, I felt like for a large portion of the film, Doc Ock was actually quite helpful in a lot of ways. Ever since he had his Martha moment of realizing that wasn't actually his Peter Parker. He was very helpful actually to them. He's the one who told them who Green Goblin was and stuff like that. Even when he was still evil and being controlled by his arms. It's pretty much as soon as Tom Holland hacked his arms and took control of them, which I thought was brilliant as well. Because at first, when he takes the nano, the nano suits and he starts infusing it with his arms, I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna get real. And then obviously it was almost like a ploy just so that his technology could merge with Doc Ock's, and he just and he's got control of them. So for me, hands down, for me, Green Goblin definitely was my favorite villain in the film as far as villains go. I loved Electro. I loved Jamie Foxx's character, and he definitely had some of the best lines in the film. And he was getting pretty badass there at the end with I knew with him with an arc reactor.
He almost killed everybody.
That's bad news for everybody. But I would have to say close second.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They would have been dead if Ock didn't come to help. That would have been the end of the movie right there.
I agree.
But he did it so brilliantly because he grabs the Spider-Man first, and he had that fleeting moment of saying, because I kind of knew he wasn't going to go back to being bad, because I feel like if they were going to do that, when Electro shocked him in the apartment, you would have seen, they would have shown the chip explode or fry or something like that. But no, they just he got shocked and he got shot out of the window, or the wall, from the windows to the wall. But but you still have that moment when he comes back and he grabs both the Spider-Man, where you're just like, well, you know, is he bad? Is he bad again, or is he gonna help? But yeah, it was good. It was brilliant. It was brilliant for him as well, for his character.
Mm-hmm. For sure. My next item. Is there anything? This is gonna be hard, probably for most of you. Maybe it's not. I'd love to be surprised. Is there anything in the movie that you did not like? For me, not really. There is a minor thing that Casual Avenger pointed out last night when we were talking about it, just briefly. He did mention a little bit of an inconsistency in the way that characters show up in this film. It's kind of you're led to believe that every villain that is being pulled, including like even Eddie Brock, and the Venom symbiote, they're brought because they know who Peter Parker that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and at the end, like Doctor Strange being like, if everyone forgets Peter Parker, everything goes back to it's fine, everything's world saved, right? Catastrophe averted. But Jamie Foxx's Electro does not find out that Andrew Garfield is Spider-Man, and even has that line that we kind of mentioned earlier of being like, man, I really thought that you were not a white guy, right? Like, so he clearly does not know that Andrew Garfield was Spider-Man. How did he get here? I don't know. It's weird. But that's really like not a huge deal. It's still a great movie.
I'm still finding a way. I'm still trying to find a way to debunk that, but I haven't found it yet. Yeah. I'm gonna have to go watch both movies now just to see. I think what we was talking about earlier, like we had the movie was almost 3 hours long. Okay, you mean to tell me we couldn't give like 5 minutes? Not even 5 minutes, like 3 minutes to be like Spider-Man and be like, you just caught a brick, my guy. What's up? Talk about that. I'm gonna need you to let me know about that. And he can start. They could have started the conversation like, "Oh yeah, hey, so when I was younger," and then just kind of like panned out of it as he's telling him about him, like, you know, his basically his accident and heightened senses and like that. He could have kind of like introducing that particular side of himself to the other superhero in the room, just so we can know, like, hey, you know, maybe there may be some type of team ups later on in the time. I mean, you know it's coming, but like continuity wise, like, hey, maybe, you know, if you ever in Hell's Kitchen and you need some help, look me up. That type stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like Matt Murdock's not the type to, you know, go on a monologue about himself, but I get what you mean.
The whole entire thing is a special, like, you know, eventually he's gonna find out he's smart. I mean, you know, just go ahead and tell him outright. Go ahead and tell him. Just give the fans what they want. Like, I can get an entire 3-hour movie about what I want, but hey, I'm done. I'm done. Next.
Right. Cool. So first of all, in my chat, Private Skull says that he thinks that Electro was drawn to the different electricity through the opening in the multiverse, as opposed to necessarily brought through because he knows who Peter Parker was, because he was in the electrical systems after being defeated and unable to draw enough energy to create himself, or to create a manifestation of himself, until he got through and was feeling that spark energy, that good electricity. So
wouldn't that mean that if that is the case, wouldn't he have had to get pulled through at the same time Andrew did?
I mean, or the same time as Lizard, Kurt Connors, or you know, so maybe, yeah.
Because there wasn't really a timeline, though. There wasn't really a timeline of when they came in, because like even Toby's was like, I've been watching you guys, so he had been there for a while. So they may not have came in separately. They may have all came in at the same time, but like, while Andrew was probably trying to figure out what was going on, Toby was like, okay, he basically found them quicker, and put some clothes on, was like, let me watch them and see who they are before I approach them, and then got approached by them via portal,
But also the whole time, I mean, because you got to remember, Toby was like, well, not Toby. Andrew.
Is VA finish?
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
No, that's all right. So it's really tough for me to pick out a spot that I didn't like. I probably, again, I wouldn't say there's anything that I didn't like about the film. There's one thing that didn't happen that I'm super happy about, and that's that we didn't get the ridiculous Venom from Spider-Man 3 coming through. But that's more of a thank God moment than something I didn't like. But,
you don't like Topher Grace? Why not?
Topher Grace was great in that 70s show. I love Topher Grace in that 70s show. I hated him as Eddie Brock. I hated him even more as Venom, to be fair. But to their credit, at least they kind of mostly stuck to the comic arc for Venom in that film. So, but no, I'm just gonna say I'd have to watch it again to see if there was anything that really stuck out to me as something I didn't like after the initial watch and still being on a high from seeing it. No, I would say there's nothing about that film that I didn't like.
That's fair. What you got, Greek?
I do wish that the fights where Goblin was a little bit longer, because in my opinion, the way that it seems to me, now, of course, you had Peter taking on all of them individually, and then the one little team up with Sandman, and then you had the team up between him, Toby, and Andrew against Sandman, Electro, and Lizard. Goblin, I want to say, out of every fight that Thomas had in the movie, was the most impactful because of the times that it took place and what happened. Because the first fight was after he convinced everyone instead of Ock to go against the cure that he was trying to make for them, which is also something that happened in the Ultimate Universe of Peter as well. And the second fight, which came fresh off of him already being hurt, badly damaged, and he's still feeling the loss of Aunt May. His fights were more impactful, but they were also shorter than the other fights that was in the movie. It was shorter than the Mirrorverse fight. It was shorter than the 3-on-3. If those fights would have been a bit longer, I feel like if those fights would have been a bit longer, I would have been much more happy with that, because at a certain point, the first fight was pretty much just Tom getting battered. Everybody was just getting battered all around the hotel until especially when he did the one move from the Spider-Man game where he jumped up, webbed the floor, and then slammed the Goblin through the floor, which is exactly what he did to Kingpin. And then the second one was kind of one-sided after Goblin started to give up. I just wish that the fights were longer with him specifically, because I feel like there was more we probably could have gotten out of that. Because those fights had a lot of emotional impact.
I can see that. More screen time for your favorite Gobby boy. Sure.
You just violent. That's what it is. You just violence.
While Pete's mentioning the video game, I love a lot of the nods to the video game as well, like Feast. Them showing the Feast Center and stuff like that, and Aunt May working there, and like you say, some of the move sets that you saw him use, and the moves that he did were straight, I mean, and I've said it all the time about the Spider-Man video games, regardless of which ones you play. And those are Spider-Man moves. Those are moves that he uses. So you expect to see them, whether it be in comics or in the video games or in the movies and TV shows. Those are the moves that you should see from a Spider-Man. And I'm so happy. I loved it when he did that. When he did that kind of web yank and pulled it and dropped through the 3 floors of the balconies. That was really really cool.
Yeah, I agree. Very cool. I want to direct this next question to Greek first, since he seems to be the most passionate about this character. Should we see a different version of the Green Goblin appear in the MCU in any way, shape, or form?
Honestly, I feel like if we do, it's gonna end up being the same issue that people were having with Jared Leto and Heath Ledger with their portrayals of Joker. But and it's also kind of been the same for Batman, because people were giving like Ben Affleck a lot of slack because they didn't think that he was going to be better than Christian Bale. If the actor is right and the script is right, I wouldn't mind seeing another Goblin show up in Tom's universe. It's just they have to get it right. Otherwise, we're gonna have another Dean the Han situation, and I'm pretty sure nobody wants to go through that again.
Yeah. Casual Avenger is in my chat and just immediately went, no! And I can understand that take. But yeah, I'm curious. What do you guys feel?
I'm going to go next, because I'm going to flat out say no. No. I don't think, if I was an actor and I got a call to say, right, they want you to audition for this role, after having watched Willem Dafoe play that part so perfectly in this film, no, I would say no. However, give us a Hobgoblin. Because, now hear me out, Willem Dafoe mentions in the film, he's come in, somebody else is living in his house, Oscorp doesn't exist in this universe, in MCU. So, what if we have instead almost a copycat? Somebody who's seen what's happened in No Way Home and mimics it and brings us the Hobgoblin as opposed to the Green Goblin. Someone that's similar, but not the same character. Still a goblin. We can still have a glider. We can still have, the pumpkin bombs and all that good stuff. But it's not the Green Goblin per se.
That's a very interesting take.
I think I'm gonna agree with VA, mainly because the way the movie left off, right? There wouldn't be a emotional plot point for a Green Goblin to completely take advantage of because of his decision at the end, Now maybe if we get back, we come back and he's finally said, "Hey, I'm going to, try to do this again. I'm going to try to. We're a little bit older now. We're a little bit more. I feel like I'm a little bit more experienced. I can try." And then he explains everything to him and whatnot, and then it cycles right back. It's like as soon as I say, "Hey, let me finally bridge that friendship I'm missing," and as soon as it happens or whatever, you got Green Goblin, whoever plays or whatever, a straight menace on his head, then yeah. But if we can't have that emotional plot point, I don't think we're going to get something that can top the pure like anger and emotion that both of them have for each other. Because like at one point, because nobody knows who Peter Parker is currently, Green Goblin, that particular Green Goblin that comes in his universe won't have the full Aunt May Thanksgiving animosity towards Peter Parker, but Peter Parker is going to have the animosity towards him. And especially if it's like a carbon copy of that mask or a carbon copy of that suit and he sees it, it triggers it, it's going to be a one-sided ass whooping basically at that point. So it needs to be a check and balance for both of them to bring it in. Otherwise, it's not going to do well when it comes to that.
Yeah, and the reason that I ask, I will admit to this being a bit of a loaded question on my end. I've been thinking about the potential to see any of these villains, but I find the Green Goblin the most interesting because Peter has that connection where he like would be upset if that were to occur. But I've been thinking that like we see one of these villains show up, and Peter sees them, and they are not yet the villain that he has met them as. How does he deal with that, right? Like, how does our Spider-Man go about running into an Oscorp building or seeing Norman Osborn walk down the street? And how, like, does he go, I gotta take preventative measures and then end up creating a new Green Goblin in the way? Or does, like, he just ignore it, see what happens? Like, I think there's an interesting dynamic there. I don't think it needs to happen. I'm not a writer. I don't know. But I think that it's an interesting avenue that if they explored, I would not be opposed to it. I just it would have to be done tactfully and with care, because that's the easiest thing to fuck up. Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I'm pretty sure that you have that on your board, so we're gonna bring it back. But I feel like this might be a good way to tie in what VA was saying, but also might piss a lot of people off. But so hear me out when I say this. Let's say that he does do that, and he does see like Norman Osborn, and in the mid-credit scenes, I'm pretty sure that particular situation is going to be looking out, because it's a symbiote, and I'm pretty sure that that particular connection or magic probably wouldn't sever that like need for a host. So I feel like it would kind of be like Spider-Man 3, but like with a better script and less villains. Like the symbiote would probably feed that hidden animosity that he would have to hide every time he would see Norman Osborn, and continuously use it as a beacon to see him and come to him, and then bond with him, make him attack him, and then either do one or two things: either do something to create Green Goblin by accident, or kill him and we get Hobgoblin in the way of Harry, because of this Spider-Man killed his father. So therefore, in his mind, he's not the villain; he's the hero. But in Peter's mind, it wasn't his particular fault. It was symbiote that he had to unbond after that happened.
That's an interesting take. I'm still pretty convinced we're gonna get a Ned Leeds Hobgoblin, but we'll see. I don't know. That route could go anywhere.
Too much. They hinted it too much and not happen.
They hinted a lot. They did.
Even the blatant. I will never betray you. Then 20 minutes later, you guys are gonna forget me. Guess what? Yeah. I can betray you now.
Yeah, that promise is gone.
Yes, it is.
New contract.
All right. My next point here
is for the new suit that we get at the end. Really suit. Quickly, new old suit. It is a very classic suit.
It's a very classic suit.
Yeah, I like it a lot. It's so shiny. It's so shiny.
That's because he got it from Party City.
I almost felt like it was intentionally shiny just because it was Christmas time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like he wanted to sparkle when he swung past all those Christmas trees and lights and stuff like that.
I want you to see me in the dark.
I just want that. Yes. He wanted that sparkle effect, I think, is what, you know. But I liked it. If that's where you're going with this question.
Yes.
I thought it was very classic. I loved, you know, it was almost taking notes from the other two Spider-Men.
It feels very inspired.
Very inspired by the two of them, and I thought it was very good, and I quite liked the idea now, right? So obviously everyone's forgotten who he is, even Happy. So he's gone back to being where he maybe should have been at the beginning. You know, he's living in a little apartment that he can probably barely afford in New York, sewing his own suits. He doesn't have all that stark technology at his disposal anymore because Happy doesn't know who he is, and yeah, it's almost like he's almost taking a step back whilst taking a step forwards in his character. So I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, this movie reframes the first 3 Spider-Man films that we've gotten in the MCU as 3, like it's an entire origin trilogy, right? Which is crazy. It's absolutely crazy because you see this kid get thrust into superpowers and have to learn responsibility over the course of 3 entire films, and then immediately at the in this last act of the trilogy get hit with that great responsibility line and have to take that all in and lose everything, become the tragic character that people wanted him to be for a couple of parts in his prior movies, and really just develop into a new character for whatever they do with him going forward. Say your piece, Slip. I know how you feel. Go ahead. Get it out there.
I'll just say this because after the conversation we talked about yesterday, I understand it, right? I do understand that you have to have Peter Parker to be in shambles because you got to relate to him, right? Like he can't like actually be happy. He can't be like the man out in these streets or whatever because you're not the man out in these streets. So he has to be in tragedy, so you can feel like I could be Spider-Man, but it's like, man, he couldn't get one person. But VA, you was right there, and with the suit, and I was thinking about it as you were talking about it. I think he inspired that suit, and this is me completely reaching as far as I can. Call me Reed Richards. He did that and made his suit symbolize both of them, so he cannot feel alone because he's the only one that knows that, and at least he knows that, kind of like how Miles Morales is Into the Spider-Verse. He knows now he's not the only Spider-Person. So now that suit represents for him that even though he's wearing this alone right now, there are other Parkers out there, there are other Peters out there are other Spider people out there that feel exactly how he does and have to do the same exact thing, same exact circumstance. So he doesn't have to feel alone in a world where he is kind of alone. He is alone. My man's is like nobody. But my question is this: does magic affect technology? That's all I want to know.
That's a great question.
If it doesn't, why my man's ain't just take the glasses with him? My man should take the glasses with him. What is he doing?
That's what but then again, the glasses were confiscated when the DODC or whoever came and arrested him. They were taken into evidence. So they are probably still in evidence somewhere, which means that they are accessible by other people also.
Yeah.
Now, so obviously they all forgot who he was, but that didn't change. That didn't take things back in time. Everything that was taken from him was already still taken from him. People just don't know who he is now.
Hey, I'm just saying. At this point.
I don't know. But yeah, I was thinking the same thing. My first thought was, man, you better get those glasses.
Give him his glasses back, man. Just go ahead and be like,
come on now, Tony left you those glasses. Those glasses have a lot of meaning and are also a very powerful weapon. They can't just be lying about in the locker somewhere and waiting to be picked up by any old body.
But no, I mean, the issue that I had always was, it has always been that it's like everybody's need to have Spider-Man or have Peter Parker have this tragic backstory for his entire life. Like at some point, some iteration, there's a Peter Parker out there who understands fully the responsibility and the power dynamic and still be like, hey, you know what? I'm kind of okay today. Like there's every single Peter Parker, every single Spider person in every universe have to have this. I see your hand, man. I see it. I see it, man. You out here trying to mess with me, dog? Huh? You mess with me?
I would never.
Okay.
Can you say the word responsibility again? That was awesome. The way you said that was so nice.
Responsibility.
Yeah, but do it the same.
Response. I ain't know what I said. I ain't know how I said it. That's my bad.
You put a lot of emphasis in a spot that I don't hear used very often, but it was great. Casual Avenger also is on his shit again. He said Spider-Man will come to Canada because he discovers that Synchro has been Mephisto this entire time. I'm not Mephisto. It's not the case. I will not do this again.
I don't know, man. It's starting. That green screen is starting to look very poorly right now.
The beard, the battery, you never know.
I don't know, man. Is your real name Ralph Boner?
No.
Okay, then he's not from Mephisto.
Greek, you got anything to add to either the ending overall of Spidey losing his memories and losing his friends and family and being a tragic little guy, or the suit in general?
I mean, I would say, he definitely still has his memories and everything. That like it's just more so. I'm not playing Spider-Man right now, bro. It's just it's just, you got my niece over here, young Spider-Man. Now she keeps getting in my face. But, I would say it's more so. I was okay with the ending because it's like, I mean, like, well, piggybacking off of what you said earlier. Now that the trilogy is completed, you can kind of look at this as an origin story, split into 3 parts. Because when you think about it, a lot of people were making all these names. Iron Boy Jr. You can't say anything left. This from the start of Homecoming to the end of No Way Home, it was giving him everything. It then took it away within one movie. I do agree with what Slip said on the symbolization of the suit. I feel like it's mostly that mixed with, the fact he can't really be running around and Stark Tech no more. So running around in a Stark Tech outfit is definitely gonna raise some eyes. So he had to make a new suit to begin with.
I mean, not really. That wouldn't do. I mean, Stark made a lot of stuff for a lot of people. They know that Spider-Man exists. They just don't know who Spider-Man and Peter Parker is. Like they know who he is. So for all they know, Stark could have made him something, and they just don't know who the identity of Spider-Man is. But he still exists as Spider-Man.
Yeah, I must feel like I said, I don't really have that much of a problem with the ending. Going forward. One thing that's definitely that I feel like definitely could be difficult is how his story is gonna move forward because obviously you're gonna need supporting cast members, both good guys and bad guys, regular civilians and whatnot. Maybe in because I believe the next trilogy is supposed to be like apparently the college trilogy or whatever. Maybe he'll run into Felicia. Maybe he'll run into Gwen. Maybe he'll end up running into another version of the Sinister Six. They can use this to start introducing more characters that were not shown off yet. Like again, Felicia, Eddie, uh, Eddie, Gwen, Hobie, Prowler. There's a lot that they can do. So I'm just curious. I'm excited.
Me too, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and then it's also, you gotta think about it. I'm pretty sure that by nobody knowing who, because it's not like nobody knows who he is specifically. It's more so that they don't know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So I'm pretty sure he's still, obviously he still has his grades. He's still, I'm pretty sure he still has like transcript and shit like that. He just ain't got no crib. I mean, you do have one now, but he's by himself now. So I do feel like he would still end up in college with them, with Ned and MJ, and I don't think he'll stay away. Truthfully, I don't think he'll stay away, but I do think he will definitely make it known that Spider-Man is Spider-Man, Peter Parker is Peter Parker, and he's gonna try to do that balance again. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna bite him in his ass again, from a different perspective, from like a different person or different villain or whatnot. Same exact thing you say. He probably won't. He probably end up as MJ and Ned as friends again, and probably start dating Felicia, or start dating like Gwen Stacy, and then get close to her and then say maybe she's probably one of them badasses that kind of can handle herself versus more so than kind of like how Gwen Stacy was in Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then she kind of just like gets clapped, and he reinforces his I need to stay away from these guys again.
Mm-hmm. There is like a chance that MJ goes through a secondary like detective arc and like uses, because we can assume that the things that happened still happened, I think, right? So there's probably a way for MJ to put pieces together and come to her own conclusions, which I think would be interesting to see, but I don't know if that'll be like a movie, if that will take another trilogy. Like I have no idea. It's very interesting to see where they go.
Like she said in the film, she figured it out the first time. She'll figure it out again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially if they have any interaction going forward. You know what I mean? And I think Slip's right. Yeah. Although what questions my questions the whole college with them kind of thing for me is they've obviously got into MIT, which for anyone who doesn't know is in Massachusetts Institute of Technology, a different state from New York, where Spidey is the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. In his box, when he moved into his new apartment, he had a GED book. Makes me think he's maybe dropped out of high school and he's going to take the GED instead and just get his, as we used to call it in Virginia, his good enough diploma. So I don't think he's going to be getting into MIT and go into MIT and things like that. So whilst he might be in college, I think it might be a case of he's in college in New York, maybe NYU or maybe something even smaller, where he is sticking in New York while they're way up in MIT. So, but don't know, and maybe I don't know. Yeah, so it
sounds about right. It sounds
lots of different things they can do.
Can't be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man if he's not in the neighborhood, huh?
True. Friendly Massachusetts Spider-Man doesn't have the same ring to it. Let's be honest. All right. let's talk about the post-credit scenes. You guys got any juice, any theories specifically about either one? Any multiverse madness theories? Any Venom theories?
Well, I already dropped my theory earlier, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I see where you're going. I think that's a possibility. I think we'll probably like it could even tie into like Secret Wars, which is like where that suit was introduced. It could tie into like Flash Thompson. They had like a little bit of an Easter egg to Flash Thompson being military E, and then Agent Venom, perhaps. Who knows? They could do a lot of things with that. I'd love to see either one of those things happen.
Ooh. As annoying as Flash was to him once he found out, I feel like that right there is that I need it. I need it now. I need it now. The dynamic between them two now is I need it. I'm sorry.
I'm down. And like what you were saying about the Hive potentially still remembering because it transcends universes and shit, or whatever the fuck bullshit reason they want to give, like that's possible. And then Flash knows, and then Flash puts 2 and 2 together, and we've all shifted. Whoa. Oh no.
Oh no.
There we go. Good thing I didn't have names on screen. Oh, we're back.
All right.
Dang.
Yeah, so I agree. I think that Venom, that little bit of Venom that was left behind on that bar, as long as homeboy behind the bar doesn't use some serious disinfectant to wipe it up, will certainly retain all the knowledge that Eddie Brock Tom Hardy, newly acquired as he was sitting there at the bar learning about Thanos and finding out that not all aliens just want to eat people. But yeah, so I think my question is, right, so how does that little bit of symbiote get to New York? Because I'm assuming that was taking place in Seattle, where Venom lives. Although it seemed to be some sort of a, I don't know, like tiki bar. Not that you can't have a tiki bar in Seattle. It just didn't seem to really fit the...
I think he was on vacation somewhere. I don't know if it was disclosed where.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. But is it going to inchworm its way all the way to New York to find Spidey, or is it going to, connect to another host to get there as well? And are we going to see that, or is it just going to be talked about in dialogue? But I do think 100% it knows. So anyone that it attaches itself to will know instantly about Spider-Man and everything else that happens that maybe people have forgotten. So.
I feel like the little symbiote is going to do one or two things. It's going to feed off of his like it's going to sense his like internal sadness, low key, and just like be drawn to him and just body hop. Just body hop. That's pretty much what it is. Probably don't kill him, obviously, but body hop. But didn't Venom know about Peter Parker before they talked? He knew about Peter Parker before they left the room, when they seen him in the Let There Be Carnage after credit. Yeah, post credit. He knew that then, and then he's found everything else. So I do feel like he might body hop until that messed him up a little bit, and get to New York eventually and try to bond with him. Also, I do think that we would, when it comes to, I had it. Where was it at? It was there. It was right there. Something about something, and I just, when I remember, I remember.
I'm sorry. Well, you're being derailed.
Yeah, you're being upstaged over here.
Hey, Greek, how you doing?
He's made a rare appearance.
The damn thing. My man's in here looking like one of those damn Mario things you jump on and shit that to get past whatever. Center the camera, dog. Please. My man's sitting here like this.
Look, I'm still set. Look, I might sound better now because I got my computer like that. I've been setting up a chair for like the past hour I've been in this call, okay? I'm struggling right now.
I get you, my guy. It's cool. Then sit on the chair.
I am sitting on the chair. I'm just leaning on the chair.
What chair do you have, sir? Do you have like a child chair? Is it on the ground? The wheels not on there? Like, why is your head at the very bottom of the camera, my guy? Like, center the camera at least.
No, the camera is centered. I'm just leaning like way back because I'm comfortable.
You look like Nick Merckx. Oh no, I get. Everybody do Nick Merckx thing.
I don't know how to do that. My camera doesn't go this high.
My camera's not even right.
Yeah, my camera doesn't go that high.
Anyway,
VA is just down over there.
I'm about to sit on the floor just to get to where he at. Anyway,
good stuff.
Man, what was that? I was talking about the Venom, and then you were talking about something, but
here's my question, because you were talking about the fact that Venom knew already who Peter Parker was, but yes. Venom is clearly a different universe than our Peter Parker, Tom Holland. So who is the Peter Parker in Venom's universe then?
I feel like it's okay. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, right? So
Andrew
Garfield. I haven't seen Let's Be Carnage yet, just to be clear.
Oh, you don't need to
be clear. And I don't mind any spoilers. Obviously, we're on a spoiler chat anyway. However, I haven't seen this infamous end credit scene. Does that take place in our universe, the end credit scene, or does it take place in his universe?
I got you. I've been thinking about that for a while, right? So, going by the Morbius trailer, right?
Sorry, no, everything's out the window. I don't even fucking understand that trailer at all, dude. I need a coffee again. I'll be right back.
Right. Morbius is clearly in Tom's universe.
No, the picture that he have on the screen, Murderer, was Tobey Maguire's suit. It's Tobey Maguire's suit. So Morbius, if I remember correctly, it's a Tobey Maguire's suit. So that means Morbius might be in Tobey Maguire's universe, and then he brings up Venom in the trailer. In the trailer.
Uh-huh.
And then Venom at the end credit scene sees Peter Parker and sees like a Spider-Man was like, we hate that guy. I believe that the Venom that came from there is Tobey Maguire's Venom. The one that he, the one that you hate so much, Mr. Topher's.
But that doesn't make any sense. So
it doesn't make any sense. They show MCU Vulture, they show Tobey Maguire Spider-Man suit, and they show Andrew Garfield Oscorp logo. Where does this movie take place? I don't know.
In the multiverse.
I don't care. I don't care either.
Directly in the multiverse. That's what it is.
It's a multiverse hopping movie.
Oh, so you're saying that Topher moved to Seattle, got jacked, and then got himself a lot of plastic surgery to look like Tom Hardy in order to be able to become that Venom?
I mean, hey, if you remember that 70s show, he did say he learned his fighting moves with Spider-Man when he fought those one dudes at the football game.
Okay. I do feel like all the Venoms are not just the hive mind is not just universal, it's multiversal. That would make perfect sense for all of it.
You make a great point, because when you said that, I immediately started thinking about I don't know if anybody's seen the end credits of Shang-Chi, but the rings were also sending out a beacon, because the rings don't belong in this universe either. So like that kind of reminds me of that. So I do agree.
They didn't say that they didn't in this universe. They said on this Earth. It's extraterrestrial, not universal.
Yeah, I think that's more going to relate to Eternals, but I don't know if that for sure.
Okay.
The thing, it's not they're not directly to Eternals, but it's more like the from what is going from the comics or whatever. At least that particular signal they're talking about is the one. I forgot how to pronounce it, but it's basically the species that Fing Fang Foom is from. That. So it's not from that planet, but it's still from that universe.
Yeah, because I mean, Bruce didn't recognize it from anything that he might have seen on Earth or even on Grandmaster's planet in Captain Marvel. She didn't recognize it either, and she's been all over the galaxy over the past 20, 30 something years or so. So if any one of them would have knew what it was, either would have been her or Wong. Neither one of them knew.
I mean, I'm pretty sure she didn't know about the.
Out that Wong was actually the scientist or the Sorcerer Supreme.
Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah. I didn't even put any thought into that. The fact that obviously I just figured, during the blip, it was just vacant. But yeah, that makes sense. There always has to be a Sorcerer Supreme in there. So
I think that bodes really poorly for Wong's character, but we'll see.
I mean, I feel like he's going to end up getting completely honest, and I don't want it to happen because I want to see Disney Plus show with Wong and Darcy and the agent Wu. But
Jimmy Woo.
Yeah, there we go, Jimmy Woo. This is still an agent, sir.
Jimmy Woo or Jimmy Woo.
I didn't say Jimmy Woo. I said Jimmy
Real fans remember him as the dad from Super Ninjas on Nicktoons.
Don't nobody care about that. No.
The disrespect.
We don't talk about Nickelodeon here. We talking about Disney right now, sir. Disney all day. No. We see him Disney around here. No. I do think that he gonna end up getting clapped in Multiverse of Madness, and our Doctor Strange is gonna whoop the evil Doctor Strange ass and become fully the Sorcerer Supreme again. I don't know how the hell he gets because my thing was, and I want y'all to come up directly after that because I'm gonna say, is that evil Doctor Strange the one that's from the What If again? Because I feel like that's what it is.
No, yeah, 100%. I believe it's Strange. I believe it's Strange Spring. Yeah, it is Strange Spring. As in,
no, it can't be 100% because last time we seen him, he was guarding that cube with Ultron and Killmonger, so it's not 100%, but I think it's very likely. But I want to know, is it a different one that happened like that? But I'm pretty sure it has to be him. But it's not 100%. I mean, my man's supposed to be doing something
similar to. But if you notice, like during that trailer, there's a couple of different monsters that look very similar to some of the monsters that he ate in that What If series and absorbed, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We see the tentacle thing, whatever the hell, the Sorcerer Supreme tentacle guy. Thank you.
Yeah, Shumagura.
You're right. That's the
waving
one.
At the hands.
These are tentacles, man. What do you want?
My man's.
I want you to be better.
I need you to pull like 2 more arms out and then do that. Then you'll be all right. Then we can say they're tentacles.
Well, and I'll duplicate myself, and then I'll chroma key, and then I'll delay, and I'll have my hands going like this, and then it'll be perfect just for you.
There you go. You can't do it right now, obviously, but next time I see you stream, whatever, I need that. I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need that. Your best Doc Ock impersonation.
Glorious.
All right, what else?
That movie's gonna be crazy. I don't really have much for you guys now.
Okay,
honestly.
so
I'm out of topics.
now. Okay, good. Not good, obviously, but good. So I can actually ask y'all a bunch of questions.
Mhm.
Like,
I have one question before you get into it, Slip. Right, going back to the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Peter obviously has written this whole speech that he wants to say to MJ.
Mm-hmm.
Walks up into the coffee shop or whatever, the diner, and then pussies out.
All right, bitch.
Do you think he was right to not do it? Or do you think he should have just he should have just manned up, put his nuts on the table, and said, "Look, I love you.
I feel
you know
like
who I am. If you search deep into your soul."
I'll say this. Oh no, you can go ahead, Slip.
No, I feel like that would land him back into some legal troubles. But
Yeah.
I feel like just walking up and I love you.
Yeah. But I would say it's more so. I mean, because like when you look at it for its basic value, right? It's more so the reason he didn't, because he was planning on doing it until he saw two things, which was them talking about how they got into MIT, and then MJ's scar, and that's when he started thinking about that. Like the entire plot of the movie was him trying to get his friends into better situations because they were being punished simply just for knowing him, and he was trying to fix it, but instead he lost everything. He decided not to because he didn't want that to happen again. He would rather not be around them and not have them know him instead of dealing with the pain of watching them being sad and depressed again. But I do agree with the VA to a certain point as to where we've seen this multiple times, not even just with other heroes, but also with Spider-Man and other characters as well. If they don't want to be around you, trust me, they won't have anything to do with you. But I feel like you should also give them that choice because MJ and Ned before the mind wipe, even though they didn't get into MIT, were 100% ready to stick by him through thick and thin or whatever it is. So if he would have told them, it would have been the same thing all over again. And who knows what would have happened next time? I feel like this is more so him trying to avoid that situation.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. What I will say is that if he realistically, as much as I dislike the situation, as much as I really did not like that he didn't, what I would have liked to see if him like wussing out and when he was putting the note in his pocket, dropping it and walking out. That would have been the best because now he didn't say anything. She read the what you call it. She starts to get, if she thinks he's crazy, ball it up, throw it away. They go about their life. If she wants to understand what's going on, she's gonna reach out to her. She reach out to him. She's going to try to find him, and that kind of puts her in that back to that detective. Like, who is this kid? Who is this kid that just apparently knows everything about me? Who's this kid that knows everything about my best friend Ned? That type of stuff. Then that way, that would have been like a investigative like MJ thing to do right there to figure out why does this kid have this much personal information about me. She was already taken back whether he finished her dreadful statement. So would have been the best thing for him to drop the note, not knowing he dropped the note, her seeing it when she cleaned it up, pick it up and start to read it. Then that way you know, hey, in the next movie she's probably going to reach out. She's probably not going to even say anything to him. It gives the choice back to her.
Yeah, I get
but
that.
I still agree.
In a lot of ways, for me,
I still agree that it should have been. They should have went on and he should have went on and did that and let them do that. But
So for me, I get it. I get where Peter's coming from, and the whole, you know what, he's noticed the scar. Not only that, but he notices how happy they are without having any knowledge of him. And he's got obviously that second guessing himself. He's coming all hyped up, ready to read this letter, and he second guesses himself and says, "Well, no, maybe what's best for them and what's going to keep them the safest is for me not to do this." At the same time, one reason I'm happy he didn't do it is it leaves the storylines so open for the next film. We could have a movie that doesn't have anything to do with MJ and Ned. That's all, and it could just be focused on an entirely different Spider-Man story because, you know, as far as they're concerned, they don't know who this guy is. They're going off to MIT. Spider-Man can just be in New York, being Spider-Man. You know, like you said before, maybe he finds another love interest and things of that nature as well. But at the same time, it's still wide open enough that they could obviously stick with the whole MJ refiguring out or rediscovering who Peter is and things of that nature as well. So I like the idea that it's left it so vaguely open with regard to their relationships that it could go anywhere the writers could possibly conceive of to take it. I'm so used to seeing that. You saw it from Toby. I don't guess you really saw it too much from Andrew. You saw a little bit from Andrew with the whole, you know, him promising Gwen Stacy's dad that he wouldn't put her in harm's way and things like that. But he was actually pretty quick to say, "Fuck that! I love you." Sorry,
it wasn't even the next movie.
He was pretty quick to say, "Screw your dad's dead memory. I'm all about you. I'm you know, let's do this."
Like 5 minutes later,
you know, I wanted that. Yeah. I wanted Tom to be the first Spider-Man that just said, "Nah, you're a big girl. You can handle this. Let's go. I love you. Here's why. Read this letter. Let's go. We're best friends, Ned. Stop drinking that horrible coffee and eating that donut, and let's go build some Lego shit."
Well, I will say this because I do want to add this in, like, because like in terms of the love interest, I know I did mention like a couple of other people earlier, like specifically Gwen and Felicia. I feel like the fandom is going to go nuts if we get Felicia. I feel like they're gonna go nuts. They're also gonna be very nitpicky too. They're gonna be very because we actually had a Felicia back in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. She was Harry's assistant, but that like she only showed up for like I believe a scene or two, and then that didn't really go anywhere. If we get Felicia, yeah, people are gonna be very critical about both her both how she played in her appearance.
Two, they introduced that didn't have any preconceived notion of being there or, you know, any follow up either. No, that film was never known for doing anything like that.
They would never.
That film had so many bloody plot holes. It wasn't being funny. Although I still stand by it as being a decent Spider-Man. Still better than Spider-Man 3.
It's a lot of things better than Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
Every storyline I wrote as a kid playing with Spider-Man action figures was better than Spider-Man 3. So.
I picked Spider-Man 3 over Root Canal.
The toy promotion from Burger King was better than Spider-Man 3. And I remember that very vividly because it was one of the hypest things out at the time. I kept seeing Venom all over the commercials. Spider-Man 3 had a little Venom toy. It's funny how, because we all know Venom to be like bulky, like really, really bulky. It's funny how the Burger King toy had more body mass than Venom in the movie. I'm like, what? You telling me that? Oh my! Like, there's no reason for a Burger King toy to be this goddamn stocky, and we get what we get from Don't get me wrong. I love Topher Grace. That 70s show, one of my favorite shows of all time. But I have very mixed opinions about that Venom portrayal. Very mixed.
Not great.
Because a lot of people also didn't even know until earlier this year. That wasn't supposed to be MJ in the final scene. That was changed last second. That was supposed to be Gwen.
That's weird.
Yeah, Sam changed it last second, and he even went out. He even apologized to MJ and the others on set for changing it. I don't know why, but yeah, that whole last fight was supposed to be different.
What you got, Slip? What you got question-wise, buddy?
I was about to ask, like, what do you think what had to be like what? I know we had the Multiverse of Madness. I know that's coming up or whatever, but like, at what point did Doctor Strange even be like, I'm gonna need Wanda help for this, man? What the fuck? What's going on? Like, what prompted him to be like, hey, yo, that chick, she like lost her mind and she like enslaved some people, but she cool now, but she like off the grid. She ain't messing with nobody right now. Because clearly he knew about Westview, because when as soon as she see him, she's like, listen, my bad. I hurt some people, but look. He's like, no, this ain't about that. I need some help. Like at what point did he need help that bad? Like what's the theories on like what he needs to say, you know what? Let's go to the broken chaos witch. Well, nobody went to her to like help her out, but like now it's like, oh yeah, you need some help. Let's go and mess up her healing to go see what's up. What's going on?
I want to say.
Hold up, Greek. Let one of them two ask, man.
Okay, my bad.
Jeez. Comic book nerd. No, I'm just playing, man.
Yeah, no, look, I'm sorry. I was silent for like the first hour because I was doing stuff. So I had like now that I'm actually here, I just wanted to talk. I'm sorry.
You're good, man.
Messing with you guys. Stop being so sensitive. Jeez.
No, I'm just not trying to be.
You don't want to talk. Now you don't want to talk. Oh, speak, bro.
God damn it! No, I want to say
emotions.
I want to say, because I mean, if you look back at Strange in the MCU, it's more so like, unless it's like absolutely necessary, he more so prefers working alone, or at the very least, he'll work with Wong. But now he kind of has to, since Wong is the new Sorcerer Supreme. For whatever reason, he's decided to go around recruiting both Wanda, America Chavez, who also was in that trailer, and another character that wasn't Wong that we haven't seen yet. If I'm right, I think it's like behind America. I think it was another woman, and it wasn't Wanda. I do have some theories about that possibly being Cleo. But I'm not entirely sure. Because so far there's at least two villains confirmed for the movie. We got Strange Supreme and then Shumagura. Now, what I'm wondering is this supposed to be Strange's own version of it? Like, is No Way Home was Tom's endgame? Is Multiverse of Madness supposed to be his endgame? Because based off the trailer, it looks like Strange is about to get pushed to his breaking point. Because it's like now he's kind of being punished for doing what he did, and now he has to figure out a way to fix it.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure, man. There's a lot of places that movie could go.
You also got to remember that Barden was there too, so we don't know if he's like. Oh, Morrow. Excuse me, Morrow. I was trying.
You said Barden
together. Yeah, put the names together, man. Chill out.
What am I doing here?
Jeez Louise, man. Say one joke and this man will just all in your back. We don't know if he's there as a friend or a foe.
Mm-hmm. I think he's there as a foe. I think it's quite.
I'm pretty sure it's foe.
Yeah, because
I got he's attacking Doctor Strange vibes from the whole from his whole body language and the words. I can't remember exactly what he says, but he's like, when he's like, the biggest enemy to this universe is you. I feel like, and it may turn itself on its head, where maybe at the start he's coming after Doctor Strange, our Doctor Strange, thinking that he's the one doing all this bad shit. Because, well, let's face it, Supreme Strange is, kind of looks exactly like him.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So I think that definitely it's kind of, it might be one of these things where he's a villain for the first half of the movie, and then again they have their Martha moment, and then they realize they have to work together to take down, Supreme Strange. And yes, that is the only thing I will ever use to describe epiphanies that superheroes have in movies, where they decide to start working together, because it is a Martha moment.
When you think about it, you got to remember, at the end of the first Doctor Strange, I'll say this: if Mordo wasn't going after Strange specifically because of what was happening in Multiverse of Madness, he was going to be coming after him for a whole different reason. Because the last time we saw him, he was draining the magic out of other sorcerers. Like he was going on like a globe trotting quest, draining the magic from any sorcerers that are still left. Because after the events of the first movie, he was like it was pretty much along the lines of, no one can really have magic anymore except for those who are truly worthy. Because Cassell's got his magic, then he went nuts. So now he's just going and stockpiling all that magic, which I'm assuming he's going to use against Strange at some point.
Agree. And that's exactly kind of what happens at the end of the first movie, where he basically goes off to become to do what he thinks is right, but is obviously
wrong.
Quite a villainous act to do, which is to basically rid the world of magic, with the exception of the small few who he deems worthy of being able to control the magic, because it's such a powerful force that he sees it as a bad thing now, as opposed to being a good thing. But what I did want to say is, I was really hyped to see America Chavez in that trailer. I think I was the only one. First of all, it was really weird because the movie ended, the credits started. He got up and started walking out, and I had to stand up and be like, "You do realize this is a Marvel movie, right? There's going to be post-credit scenes, possibly multiple post-credit scenes. What the hell are you doing leaving?" And then they still left. There was still probably half the theater there. We got our first post-credit scene with Eddie. And then half of them started to leave, and I was like, "Oh, okay. I thought you knew the script. There's going to be post-credit scenes again." But yeah, no, I was really quite happy to see America Chavez. I've heard the rumors of her coming in, but I've never seen anything concrete. So I think that's going to be an awesome addition. I'm assuming she'll be a character that probably ends up with a TV show as opposed to films, just because she's, she's a bit of a lesser known Marvel hero. But at the same time, I think that they can do so much more with her. She's definitely, in my opinion anyway, more of a kind of local hero as opposed to necessarily global, out saving the entire world, fighting with, in space and everything else. But she might prove me wrong when it comes to this film, which I hope they do. I was really hyped to see her, so I'm really glad that she's getting to come in.
Yeah, do we know what she's gonna appear in after this? Because I actually don't know personally if there are any plans for her at the moment, but I don't think so. Other than obviously what she's in.
Black Panther as almost a cameo performance in Civil War, and then he got his film, and then then the plans for him afterwards were announced. I assume it'll be similar to that. She'll get her cameo introduction, and then she'll maybe get her. I think she'll get a TV show. I think she'll have a series, like a Disney Plus series.
Gamer Nerd Queen asked the question.
There was a third credit scene I missed because my sister was leaving.
Lots of people miss those credit scenes. Yes. Yeah. So sad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that we were just talking about the Doctor Strange trailer.
Gamer Nerd Queen asked the question: will Eddie remember Spider-Man? I don't know. I think Venom will. I don't know if that means that Eddie also will, but I don't know if it matters because he's leaving.
Yeah, I think definitely the symbiote suit will retain that memory, and the suit that's on Eddie in his universe will, I assume, also remember Spider-Man.
Yeah, I feel like Eddie will forget, but then like because of the symbiote bond they have, he would just force him to remember. Like he was trying to force him to like show him the symbiote stuff that was going on his planet. I'm pretty sure he can just like make him remember everything.
That'd be cool.
How he gets back to the MCU version, I have no idea. Maybe the multiverse of madness maybe just happened to like open up a door. You know, like I was saying, like, hey, you know what? Maybe Doctor Strange will pick up Tom's Spider-Man to go visit Andrew's Spider-Man for a little bit. On his way back, he'll pick up Tom and then also Eddie and just come back like a little multiversal road trip.
Road trip.
So basically,
multiverse van driving around, just picking up different people, and
so basically across the Spider-Verse, but instead of Miles, it's with Peter.
I mean, they've already like
because that's what the second movie is.
I don't know. Listen, guys, we hit the 2-hour mark. That's a good show.
Thanks
right
for following.
Let's get it. Go ahead and
let's close in remarks. Any final words? Any shilling you guys want to do? Feel free.
I love Slipshot. I want to say that.
Me too. Private Skull, thank you for the follow, man. Appreciate that.
I love you guys. You guys are amazing.
No, you.
No, you are.
There we go.
So, I'm gonna say before I sign off, I'm just gonna say, go see the movie. If you've already seen it, go see it again.
See it again. Yeah.
The movie is fantastic. I'm so glad I went and saw it in cinemas. Well,
yeah.
Make sure that you, if you don't already, follow Slipshot. Subscribe to Slipshot on YouTube. Follow SYNCROCHAMP on Twitch. Hell, if he's got a YouTube, subscribe there too. King Greek, I believe, is all over the place. Find him, follow him, subscribe to him. Make sure that you don't miss anything from these three guys, because everything they put out is gold. So
lies, but also check out VA for sure if you haven't. He's a glorious individual.
And I just want all of you to know that
we are best friends.
Yeah, had you there. I had you there.
What just happened? I'm so lost.
What you mean? What you mean just happened?
I did not see that coming.
That was Venom chatting to us.
Yes, I have a pre set on here that makes me sound a little bit like Venom.
Quite good.
Eddie Brock coming to Venom 3. Yes, I still know about Spider-Man.
Okay.
You heard it here first. That is Venom. From Venom's own mouth, he still knows about Spider-Man.
Man, just took over the stream. Jesus, man, chill out, Venom, relax.
No.
Oh.
All right.
Cool. You guys know anyone live that we should raid?